Hey playa, last week I went to VidCon, which was an amazing experience. I met up with a lot of friends, I went to a lot of cool panels, but there was one thing that happened in particular that rubbed me the wrong way. So this video is going to be kind of a rant about the idea of picking sides, but don't worry, there's a purpose to all of it in the end.
This is the Just Speak. You're watching the Just Speak.
I went to a panel all about using your voice here on YouTube to help inspire change. It was hosted by the YouTube Creators for Change ambassadors, and the panel itself was hosted by Franchesca Ramsey. And since the Josh Speaks is all about helping you be your best self in this world, I figured this is the perfect panel for me to attend. Now, I thought something was a bit odd from the beginning. Instead of having an open Q&A where people can just ask their questions, she wanted everyone to write their questions down, she would collect them, and then she would decide which questions they would answer. I sat there thinking, well, that's kind of weird. What's the purpose of adding that extra layer of security to the questions? And it wasn't until later that I found out the whole drama that ensued between Anita Sarkeesian and Sargon of Akkad. Now, if you don't know who those two YouTubers are, that's okay. Anita Sarkeesian has a YouTube channel called Feminist Frequency where she talks about different feminist issues, tropes in video games, social justice issues, and the whole like. Sargon of Akkad is part of the Skeptic community. He aims to use rational arguments to try to debunk points made by feminists or social justice activists. Both of them are trying to bring their challenging ideas to the front lines, and behind each of those big YouTubers, there is a huge audience that will listen to anything that they say. And at VidCon, Anita was talking on one of the panels about feminism when Sargon of Akkad and a bunch of the other Skeptic YouTubers came and sat in the front 2 rows of the panel. And with Sargon sitting there, given all the criticism he's given Anita in the past, it made her feel uncomfortable and she just lashed out and called him a garbage human among other names. And that action led to many ripple effects all across VidCon, including the original panel that I was attending. So I sat at the Creators for Change panel thinking, why are they filtering the questions? Are they afraid that someone's just going to ask or say something really mean and offensive? The purpose of this panel was to promote awareness, tolerance, and empathy, and yet there was this underlying fear that someone was going to take advantage of that. Meanwhile, people were already picking their sides. Anita was wrong for calling him a garbage human. Sargon was wrong for being in the crowd and intimidating her. And as I heard more and more about what was going on, people were moving closer to anger and rage and further from empathy and compassion. I feel like especially on YouTube, you're pushed to pick one side. If you watch a few videos from a certain creator, related creators inside their bubble will show up for you. So what ends up happening is certain narratives end up getting reinforced simply because the algorithm pushes you that way. If you're watching Sargon's videos, you might see more Andy Worski or Louder with Crowder or Roaming Millennial. If you're watching Anita's videos, you might see more Cat Black or Franchesca Ramsey or Riley Dennis. And what tends to happen is, once you identify with an ideological side, it becomes a lot easier to try to justify any other points made by someone on your ideological side. And it seems like the further you move left or right here, the more disdain you're going to have for someone else on the opposing ideological side. But just because someone identifies with an ideological side doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to be jerks to someone else. YouTube is still a place for discussion, expression, and education, but it also happens to be a place for misinformation, exploitation, and harassment. Not everyone here is going to play nice, that's a given. So what really matters here is being able to manifest your own positive values and putting them forward despite these bad characters. And that's not exactly easy to do, especially when you feel like the other side resorts to name-calling, intimidation, or just flat out trying to silence you from the conversation. One debate I see happening a lot is whether or not we should highlight these extreme voices from the other side. Should we bring these people front and center to show the world who they are, to challenge their ideas, and if they're truly bad, to show the world that they need to dismiss them? Or are we legitimizing these people and making them look credible enough so that they can present their ideas in a watered down version to try to capture the mainstream to start following their train of thoughts? I really don't know what the answer is, but for me, I just want to keep on learning, and for every new thing that I learn, I'm just going to hold it up to my own value system. Are the ideas that I'm learning rooted in compassion and kindness at its core? If they're not, then I know that something's up. I mentioned earlier how we should strive to approach a situation from a place of compassion. People tend to misinterpret compassion for letting someone do whatever they want. But what I really mean by acting compassionately is to not carry false perceptions, thinking that you know exactly what's going on in the other person's mind. We do this all the time. We hear someone's ideas and we write the entirety of their their character off as being a bigot, a racist, a sexist, or anything of that nature. And like I was saying before, we tend to follow our crowd when it comes to ideas, and we tend to justify radical thought within our own in-group, but at the end of the day, we need to remember that every person is an individual, and we need to communicate with them as if they are that. Letting go of our false perceptions allows us to approach a situation, to approach a person with a higher sense of compassion and kindness. If you continue to hold ideas that you think the other person holds, then you're never going to truly act with compassion. So when I ask the question, whose side are you on? I don't mean ideologically. I mean, are you on the side that values compassion and truth? Or are you on the side that values distrust and apathy? And I would say those values go hand in hand, because when you distrust someone, you tend to not care about them or their well-being at all. I don't know. This is just something that was on my mind that I felt the need to talk about. I feel like as we're all working towards being our best selves, it's important to look at real issues like this and to decide how we can approach them. Thank you so much for sticking around to the end here. If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. Otherwise, check out one of the videos over there on the side. I think they'll be really helpful in continuing this conversation and continuing this point. Guys, I have tons of fun collabs planned for this summer, so stay tuned because those are coming up. As always, love and peace.